Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for Star Trek Discovery Season 4 Episode 10, The Galactic Barrier. This video is a part of a series of videos where I review episodes of Discovery, so I'll have to start with a spoiler warning. For Star Trek Discovery, up to Season 4 Episode 10, if you have not seen up to this point, you will not want to watch this video, otherwise some things will be spoiled for you. I didn't completely hate this episode, but it did feel, I gotta be honest, it was kind of boring. The Discovery storyline was kind of just a waste of time to give them something suspenseful to do. And the Tarka storyline, at least, alright, it gave us some background information on him, which is I've been complaining about. I had no attachment to his storyline. Now I do have more attachment after seeing his backstory. But I'm still not incredibly interested in it, and I don't know. I didn't quite buy the friendship that he built with this other scientist. I mean, yeah, they were in being held captive together for years, and they built up a bond. I did get that, but I don't know, the way they saw it unfold. I don't know, I feel like it wasn't done very well, and not very convincing. So, I guess I'll go through the episode. Everyone's saying goodbye. Bryce I actually remembered his name this time. He's staying behind. Oh no, not Bryce. And Subaru's like, oh, well, it won't be the same without you. We will have another random person to say stuff like, aye, sir, and opening the hail. Oh, what a huge difference. Why are they doing this? I don't know. It annoys me. And we still haven't seen Tilly. Like, not that I'm complaining too much about that, but yeah, well, we get Adira back this episode, but we haven't seen Tilly for a while, and now they're getting rid of Bryce, who was just a background nothing character anyway, so who cares? I wonder if they're like planning to do something. Like, is there a reason why they're taking these characters off the ship? But I don't know. So we get the return of Adira, and that's all well and good, but they don't really do much in this episode anyway. I mean, they just like say hi to Stamets or whatever, and say that they miss Gray. But you know, that's about it. So that's fine, I suppose. I guess the main thing is the whole interactions between the president and Burnham, where the president decides to come, which I don't know. I do find that a bit unreal. Like, the president would actually go on this risky mission. I don't know. They just wanted this character to interact with Burnham, and that's fine, whatever. And so the president goes on the mission, and she doesn't, and they had this. I kind of like the scene between her and Burnham. It was like, don't interfere with me, and she's like, fine, but I'm the diplomat, and she's like, all right, fine. It's good to like that they had like those clear lines of who was responsible for what. So that was all well and good, and then they had that communication from Earth right before they went through the Galactic Barrier that the DMA is headed towards Earth. Well, of course it fucking is. I mean, that's like every Star Trek or show when it has something that's like can destroy planets, it always has to be headed towards Earth. Well, it could be headed towards Earth and Navarre, then not sure. And then, yeah, and then they had this, oh, should we tell the crew, should we not? And I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a very apathetic mood, because I was not invested in that storyline either. I was just like, oh, who cares? I don't know. Anyways, so the Galactic Barrier. This is, the whole time I was watching this episode, I kept thinking, this is a piece of canon that I wish they did not stick to. Like all the other pieces of canon that they ignored, I wish this was one of them. It should have been one of them. Like, it was always a stupid concept anyway, because you had to think that the Enterprise, like all those years, centuries ago, actually made it to the edge of the galaxy. Look, like the original series was made, they had no concept of world building, of universe building, especially during the pilot episode where this was introduced, or the second pilot episode where the concept of the Galactic Barrier was introduced. And so it's a piece of canon I feel should have been ignored. Just like the whole, the barrier in the center of the galaxy where the God is, what does he need with the starship? Like, that needs to be ignored as well. So I just was irritated by the whole concept of it. And I don't really get it. Like, what? Maybe they explained this when I wasn't paying attention because I was so bored, either this week or last week. But why couldn't they just, spore drive past the barrier? Why do they actually have to physically go through it? I'm sure they like throw out some technobabble BS to justify, just so they could have this episode, so they could have, oh, look at the suspense, are we gonna make it through the barrier? It's just a way to have a threat of the week. It's just a way to have attention to go along with it, so they have some way for this episode to be suspenseful, because God forbid they actually just do a fucking character episode. Anyway, so and then once they get through the barrier, which I was so suspenseful. Like, I know they're gonna get through the barrier. I know they're not gonna get destroyed, and it was just kind of going through the steps, going through the motion. I felt no investment in this whatsoever. But once they get through the barrier, why didn't they just spore drive to the 10C location? Did they explain that as well? Like, I don't know. Because they couldn't have them arrive there right away because they got to save that for the next episode. That's the real answer. And then the episode ended with like Discovery warp driving through space. I'm like, why are they warp driving? Discovery was the whole point. What's the point of bringing Discovery? They don't use their freaking spore drive. Anyway, I don't know. So, yeah, I'm sure they came up with some BS excuse. Someone's going to tell me in the comments, say, oh, Mark, you missed the line where they said they're blah, 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 hypersators, anomaly, BS that explained why they couldn't. It's all bullshit anyway, even if they did explain it. Anyway, so we have Suburu and his little romance with the Vulcan president, or Navarre president, but she is a Vulcan. I believe they still call themselves Vulcans. She's just from the planet of Navarre. Anyway, that I guess it's fine. Like, I don't hate it. It was kind of. I was a bit involved when Suburu appeared to get shut down, and she was acting all weird around him. But then when she said, "Oh, please sit with me. I like your presence," like. It was nice. So this is actually maybe part of the episode I actually did kind of like. It was okay. Yeah, and then there was this manufactured thing where when they had the crisis of, Burnham wanted the president to tell everyone about Earth being in danger and she didn't want to do it, and they had this manufactured thing where all the people on the bridge were like, I want to visit the Oregon coast, I want to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, I want to go to, whatever, and they kept saying shit on Earth, and that was so manufactured, and that was so and Burnham giving her this look like, oh, see, Earth is still gonna be there, like that was so contrived. I mean, how often did it just all shout out wanting to do shit on Earth when they get back? Like, this never happened before, and it was so contrived to be like, see, there won't be an Earth. They need to know. Anyway, so the Tarka and Book stuff, when Book is like, I like Book's reaction at first where he's like, you're gone. I didn't like the fact that Tarka was able to talk him into staying. I think Book is kind of weak, that he shouldn't have let him stay. But anyway, they go to this planet, and turns out to be the planet where Tarka was held prisoner before, and so we get his backstory and flashbacks, which is what I've been saying we needed to have from the get-go. I think, to me, this is a bit too little too late. Like, we should have gotten this from the beginning. his backstory, because it seemed like really out of nowhere the way, like, oh, I'm trying to find my scientist friend. And I still don't know if I feel like the storyline needs to exist, but at least they fleshed it out more, and I feel more connected to it and more involved, and it's not just an abstract idea anymore. But as I said, like, I don't think they did the best job at selling their relationship to me. As I still feel like it was kind of a tell not show situation. I mean, it did kind of show, but I don't know. They just went. I didn't feel it. I feel like, oh, this is like, you've seen two people who are in prison connect before, and I had to like draw on other material I've watched or read to be like, oh, so this is what they're trying to tell me. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit cynical here. Maybe I'm just in a bad mood. But I wasn't really sold on that either. And yeah, I guess there's, and then I guess Book and Tarka are going through the Galactic Barrier as well, and they're going through 10 seasons. I guess that's really all I have to say about this episode. So my rating for the Galactic Barrier out of 10, I'm gonna give this a 5. Average. I started off wanting to give it a 6, but after doing my review, I talked myself down. It's funny because a lot of times I'll talk myself up. Usually, that's usually the other way it happens. When I record a review, I have a rating in mind, but when I go and talk about the episode, I'm like, this is actually way better, so I should give it a higher rating. I think this is the first time I actually talked myself down to a lower rating. Yeah, I don't know. This episode was so bland to me. Again, I don't know if I'm just in a bad mood or whatever. Maybe if I watch this again in the future in context, like binge watch it, I'll be like, hey, I was unfair on this episode. It was actually really good, but I doubt it. But who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind about this episode in the future. But I'm kind of, I don't know. I mean, as I said before, Discovery is a mixed bag at best. And now I'm leaning more on the negative side of it. I'm just kind of getting sick of it, but I don't know. So that's it for my coverage of Discovery Season 4, Episode 10. Thanks so much for watching. As I said, I will return next week. And Picard starts next week, I think, as well. And I shall cover that too. Hopefully Picard will be better, but we'll see, because that season 1 was also a mixed bag. So that's it for my coverage. Be sure to check out my channel as I cover many other Star Trek reviews and videos and whatnot, and also cover other shows such as The Expanse, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and more. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.